And Angel Reese, after injuring her wrist last season, getting surgery on her injured wrist, has now injured her wrist again and looked in severe pain in the Rose win in Unrivaled.
Angel Reese exited the court in visible distress, clutching her wrist, casting significant uncertainty over her readiness for the upcoming season. Having already undergone surgery on the same wrist, she is now confined to a protective brace on her shooting hand. Last season, her prolonged month-long absence forced a drastic recalibration of the team's strategy and fundamentally altered their on-court dynamics. With the Chicago Sky set to face formidable adversaries such as the Indiana Fever and Minnesota Lynx in the early stretch of the season, Reese's potential unavailability could deal a severe blow to their prospects. However, her injury is merely a symptom of a far more concerning epidemic plaguing the league, one that extends well beyond a single star player. With a staggering 40% of WNBA athletes already sidelined due to injuries, is the league facing an unprecedented crisis that threatens to reshape the competitive landscape?
I just remember during the year when Angel Reese landed on her wrist, and then you can see her just kind of doing this, trying to get in and playing, and then it was oh, she faked a wrist injury, it wasn't real, and it's you can literally see where it happened in the game.
Angel Reese was commanding the court with her signature dominance, relentlessly securing rebounds and orchestrating plays with an effortless mastery, when, in an instant, disaster struck. The very wrist that had already undergone surgical intervention betrayed her once more, forcing her to the sidelines. Though Team Rose ultimately secured the victory, one cannot help but question the true cost of that win. Reese's reaction to the injury was nothing short of harrowing, her face contorted in anguish, a warrior momentarily undone by the fragility of her own body. She attempted to persevere, battling through the pain as she has done countless times before. A competitor of unwavering resolve, she fought to remain on the court, grimacing with every movement, grasping at her wrist in a desperate attempt to suppress the growing agony. But this time was different. The mask of resilience cracked, and by the time she reached the bench, emotions surged through her. There she sat, one of the toughest competitors in the game, cradling her wrist, visibly shaken, her expression wavering between pain, frustration, and the haunting realization of what this injury could mean for her future. Footage from the bench captured a moment of raw vulnerability, fueling immediate online speculation. Some dismissed it as theatrics, but medical experts watching closely recognized the unmistakable signs of a serious reinjury. Her protective posture, the guarded way she held her wrist, and the sheer distress in her eyes pointed to an all-too-familiar and ominous reality. She knew precisely what had happened, and she understood the dire implications. Reese's predicament could not have come at a worse time. She has been a dominant force in the unrivaled league, and her team was locked in a crucial battle where her rebounding prowess was invaluable. Yet, the severity of her injury left her with no choice. She was forced to exit. For an athlete of her caliber, one who never steps away unless absolutely necessary, this was a deeply concerning turn of events. Now, as she continues to don a wrist brace well beyond the immediate aftermath, it becomes increasingly evident that this is not a minor setback. This isn't an isolated incident, it's a pattern. Reese had already undergone wrist surgery following a previous fracture, a process that sidelined her for months. The recurrence of the injury on the same surgically repaired wrist introduces an alarming complication. Second injuries to previously weakened joints are notoriously difficult to rehabilitate, as compromised tendons and ligaments struggle to regain their former strength. This is no longer just an injury, it is a looming crisis. Reese's role as an elite rebounder further complicates her recovery. Every contested board, every aggressive box out, every battle for positioning places immense stress on her wrist. Unlike a shooter, whose injury might be mitigated with altered mechanics, Reese's playing style demands constant physicality. Attempting to expedite her return risks catastrophic consequences, not just for her season but for the longevity of her career. The timeline for her recovery now carries ominous implications. Her last wrist injury required 2 months of rehabilitation. If history repeats itself, The Chicago Sky could be without their cornerstone player for a significant portion of the upcoming WNBA season. The ramifications extend beyond Reese alone. Her absence would deal a massive blow to Chicago's early season campaign, with critical matchups against the Indiana Fever and Minnesota Lynx looming. These games, strategically scheduled to maximize excitement and capitalize on star power, particularly the much-anticipated showdown between Reese and Caitlin Clark, may now unfold without one of its key protagonists. Fans who eagerly secured tickets for these high-profile clashes could now be left watching a diminished spectacle. Yet, the most unsettling aspect of this injury is how it ties into a larger crisis engulfing the unrivaled league. Reese is not the only casualty, far from it. A staggering 40% of players have already been sidelined due to injuries, and this is not merely coincidental misfortune. The attrition rate among elite players is alarmingly disproportionate, raising urgent questions about the league's scheduling, workload management, and overall player safety. Consider the casualties: Lexi Hull, Sabrina Ionescu, Alyssa Thomas, Kalia Copper, Katie Lou Samuelson, Jewel Lloyd. The list continues. Even Brianna Stewart, one of the most durable athletes in the sport, required meniscus surgery following her unrivaled league stint. The sheer volume of injuries among the league's marquee players suggests something far more troubling than random bad luck. The league's approach has been one of overt enthusiasm, championing rising viewership numbers and increased engagement, while failing to acknowledge the toll it is exacting on its athletes. Behind closed doors, medical personnel are expressing growing concerns over the relentless scheduling and inadequate recovery time. Yet, these warnings have largely been drowned out by the league's promotional narrative. This escalating injury crisis extends beyond individual players. It threatens the very integrity of the sport. The upcoming WNBA season is poised to tip off with a roster of star players already nursing injuries, some operating at a fraction of their full capacity. How many of these athletes will enter the season at only 70% or 80% of their potential, forced to play through lingering ailments sustained in a league that prioritizes spectacle over sustainability? Sports medicine experts are already questioning whether the unrivaled league structure is viable in the long term. The relentless pace, insufficient rest periods, and an apparent disregard for player well-being have turned it into a veritable minefield of injury risks. The league's pursuit of excitement has placed its most valuable assets, its players, in jeopardy, and without immediate intervention, careers could be irreversibly altered. The hard truth is this: the unrivaled league now faces a pivotal reckoning. Either it implements sweeping reforms to prioritize player safety, or it risks an exodus of talent unwilling to jeopardize their futures. The very foundation of women's basketball is at stake, and unless decisive action is taken, the consequences could be catastrophic.